The governing body has just admitted they can be wrong. A joke, a light moment, or maybe even a throwaway line. But to everyone paying attention, it was huge. If you are new here, welcome to Tell Me Dr. K, a channel manipulative religious leaders wish you never discover. I'm Dr. K, a theologian, consultant, and polemist. In addition to 3 other degrees, I hold 2 PhDs and a degree in theology with distinction. If you crave for deep dives like this one, subscribe and smash the notice bell for more. During the JW 2025 annual meeting, Samuel Heard asked this question: does the governing body ever need correction? He smiled, paused, and answered, yes. That moment might have cracked open the door Jehovah's Witnesses thought would not budge. The door to admitting imperfection at the highest level of Jehovah's organization. For decades, the governing body operated like royalties. What they published was spiritual food at the right time. What they said was Jehovah's voice. What they decide is the truth until it was not. And questioning them, you didn't. You couldn't, because even to wonder if they made a mistake meant questioning Jehovah's guidance.
Today, the faithful slave was put in charge of providing spiritual food for God's people who number into the millions. The slave also shows complete trust in Jehovah that he will guide them with his Holy Spirit. What makes it possible for the faithful and discreet slave to provide precious spiritual food? I will give you insight and instruct you in the way you should go, says Jehovah. Psalm 32, verse 8. Today, Jehovah provides direction to the slave through Jesus. Jesus, in turn, provides direction for his people through the faithful and discreet slave. We can have, therefore, full confidence in the scriptural insight, understanding, and guidance. Satan tries to sow mistrust.
But in 2025, something changed. Samuel Heard didn't just admit that the governing body is correctable. He publicly modeled it. He told the global audience of Jehovah's Witnesses, yes, even we lack things sometimes. It was light-hearted, but it was also a tremor beneath the stage. The talk that broke the mold. Heard's talk wasn't about prophecy or rules. It was about self-correction. He framed it with questions all JWs recognize. How do you respond when somebody points out a weakness? Do you double down or reflect? Then he said something that landed differently in this context. When somebody tells you something you lack, don't you overreact? And he included himself, not as an exception, but as an example. That subtle framing from the top meant one thing: we are not above growth. That's new, that's humanizing, and for many, that's long overdue. Now you might say, what does that matter? People make jokes. He didn't make it official. He didn't issue a formal apology. But inside the culture of the Jehovah's Witnesses, tone is everything. When the governing body calls itself faithful and discreet slave, they claim divine direction.
Our fine shepherd tells us as our first example these words at Matthew chapter 24, verses 45 through 47. Who really is the faithful and discreet slave whom his master appointed over his domestics to give them their food at the proper time? Happy is that slave if his master on coming finds him doing so. Truly I say to you, he will appoint him over all his belongings. We know the Master Jesus found the faithful and discreet slave spiritually feeding right-hearted ones in 1919, and at a future time will appoint him over all his belongings. So what's the implication? Obviously, even now, Jesus fully trusts the faithful slave. And all of us Even individual members of the governing body should do the same. But what does the voice of strangers say on this subject? Don't trust the faithful slave. He will mislead you.
So when one jokes about needing correction, that's not comedy, that's strategy. Because for years, people have left the organization feeling smothered by absolutism, dogmatism, no room for questioning, even lovingly. But now, a governing body is laughing at an idea that they might be wrong. That's a pivot. And that sets a tone that trickles all the way down. Humility as a new strategy. Let's ask a deeper question. Why now? Why is the governing body suddenly in 2025 adopting this more humble posture? 3 reasons stand out. 1. Damage control. After lawsuits, media scrutiny, and internal disillusionment, the image of an infallible leadership isn't playing well anymore.
Well, knowing this, then, we are not embarrassed about adjustments that are made, nor is an apology needed for not getting it exactly right previously. We understand this is how Jehovah operates. He reveals matters gradually when it is needed. And also, the governing body is neither inspired nor infallible. And so it can err in doctrinal matters or in organizational direction. The brothers do the best they can with what they have and what they understand at the time, but are happy if Jehovah sees fit to clarify matters, and then that can be shared with the brotherhood. And when that happens, we understand it's because it's Jehovah's time for that to happen, and we eagerly accept that.
Relatability. A humble leader is easier to trust than a rigid one. By showing a we are human two-face, the governing body may hope to rebuild emotional loyalty. Number 3, preparing for more changes. You can't change big policies without first changing the tone. If they're going to keep adjusting doctrines or reversing course, they need to soften authority structure first. So this isn't a joke from somewhere ahead. It's a signal. The era of unquestioned authority may be winding down. At least, that's how it is packaged. Is this humility or performance? Let's look at evidence. Head admitted correction is needed, but he didn't name any past mistake. No apology for failed predictions, police harm, or doctrinal whiplash. No formal change in authority structure, just tone. So we have to ask, can you claim humility while still punishing dissenters? While discouraging open discussions? While still labeling honest doubts as spiritual weakness? Because real humility isn't just saying we can be wrong. It is saying we were wrong, we are sorry. Until that happens, the tone may change, but the culture won't change. What this means for members. Still, for many Jehovah's Witnesses watching this meeting, something was probably stirred. Hope. Hope that their leaders were softening, that the organization might become more human, more responsive, more honesty. And especially those who have been raised in the shadow of unyielding governance. Headsquip felt like a drop of the first rain after a long drought. But be careful. Tone is not policy. A smile is not a shift. And humility, real humility, takes more than a joke. It takes transparency. It takes responsibility. And it takes courage to admit that you led people astray. Yes, Samuel Head said, the governing body also needs to be corrected. But until they start correcting themselves, out loud in writing, and with sincerity, that humility is just a hint. Still just a whisper. If they can be wrong, who gets to tell them that they are wrong? To watch episode 1 on the JW annual meeting analysis, click on this link.